right, Monday, 1 p.m. means the main event podcast is coming at you. And today, for just a limited time, special guest, we have Jason Wayne Carter. You know him as Chief. He's going to help me break down the Cowboys Cardinals game tonight to start off the show before he has to go back to work. Adam is unfortunately not feeling well. He will not be here today. So, Jason, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good. Actually, it worked well, so perfect. I was like, oh, we're doing something new here. So he's even got his name on that thing. That's impressive.
Oh, nice. Do I?
Yeah. Oh, because of Zoom. So yeah.
No, I can't see anything. I don't know. I just see you.
Oh yeah. I guess I didn't hook it up right for you. So I should have done it right for you. So first of all, Jason, thanks for joining us. Welcome back to the main event podcast.
Right. Thanks for reaching out to me this morning.
Yep. So, for those of us that didn't listen to the show this morning, the Bruce and Helly show, where you gave your prediction, I was disappointed in you because you changed your pick.
I did. So last week I did pick the Cardinals. I think 36-33 is what I said, 36-31. And then today, just, stuff for the weekend. And I came here today, and then Dale Hellestrate, he starts, kind of talking his nonsense. And he's kind of the guy I lean towards more inside the studio when it comes to making predictions. So I piggybacked with him last week, and we both had the Cardinals. And today he changed it up to the Cowboys, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go Cowboys. So I did change my prediction.
So you're a follower.
Yes. I'm a big-time follower in that aspect because Dale is pretty good at picking football games.
Yeah, he is. But so I had last week on my main event, on my Cardinals podcast, Cardinals Rewind podcast, which, of course, is available on YouTube and all that good stuff for everybody now. And then, of course, on the standard all the podcast systems. But I have like a 34-28 roughly ball game tonight. I haven't wavered at all because the weekend happened doesn't mean that the Dallas Cowboys got better all of a sudden like you all think they did. Like you guys all think what's his name? The Red Rifle all of a sudden got
Andy
better
Dalton?
over the weekend. Yeah, like you guys all think that he woke up Sunday morning and got better through Monday or something. So break it down.
Not just that for me. It's wake up this morning and find out that Leighton Vander Esch, who is a pretty phenomenal linebacker, is active tonight. So I think it kind of changes a little bit too.
So a guy hasn't played in how long is active tonight, and all of a sudden he's going to win the world. He's going to win the Super Bowl, huh?
Hey, 5-week layoff, man. It's good for you.
It's going to have weird legs as the Cardinals go up tempo on him today and everything. So it's going to be interesting to see. But everybody was saying end of last week it was going to be a high-scoring affair because of the defenses not being very good. And now today everybody's kind of walking that back and everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be like a 24-20, 2017 ball game. What has changed on the Dallas side here on what you think is going to happen there besides a guy coming back after 5 weeks and hasn't played in forever?
I mean, that side of the equation, I really don't know what's changed internally and like with fans and stuff like that. And I guess a lot of people are kind of backing off of, we thought it was going to be, one of the highest scoring Monday Night Football games in the history to now it's like, it'll probably just be another game. And we're looking at, 28-17 or 28-27, something like that. For me, I kind of look at it and am I hoping the Cowboys take the time of possession? Yes, but Mike McCarthy has shown me nothing. So, I'm hoping the Cowboys come out. And for some reason, there's this aura that all of a sudden now, the Cowboys will get back to their roots, which is hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott 30 times, control the clock.
I have a question on that.
Keep their offense off the field. I don't think that's really going to happen, but I'm kind of hopeful right now.
So on that thread, and that's why I interrupted, was so here's my problem with that thinking line, right, is with Dak Prescott, who can run the ball, was throwing the ball everywhere on the field, everywhere he can be, and that's not necessarily his strength, right? And he's just throwing the ball, record offense, first in the league offense, and then people go, oh, we have a throwing quarterback in there now, so now we're going to step back and we're going to run the ball. How do you even think? What? I don't understand the thought process behind this.
That's just the fatalistic football fandom and football talkers, I guess. Because, you're exactly right. Last week when Tony Dungy was like, well, now they can reestablish their identity as a run team, it was kind of like, well, what the heck are you talking about? Andy Dalton is a guy who can throw the ball. Don't forget, Andy Dalton in 7 minutes of work last week did throw for over 100 yards on 2 drives that he had. So, the guy can definitely throw. Seemed to have found a nice target in Michael Gallup last week, too. So, maybe a practice with the ones kind of helps him out with the passing game. But yeah, I honestly don't have any idea where the logic comes from that all of a sudden Ezekiel Elliott's going to carry the ball 12 more times a game because Andy Dalton can throw a ball, and that's what he is.
Yeah, I'm just baffled by. It's not just Cowboy fans saying this. I mean, I've seen it on
Oh no,
ESPN today. I've seen it.
everywhere.
Sporting News was saying it today, and I'm just like, I don't understand this logic. Why would you go back with the quarterback that is better at throwing the ball than what you had? But then on top of it, I mean, Zeke isn't just going to get the ball tonight and light it up for 400 yards right off the bat, right? He hasn't done it all year and everything. And you never get that one guy that all of a sudden out of nowhere, like even Derrick Henry yesterday had that huge game, but he had a huge game 2 weeks ago. So it's like led up to it. Zeke Elliott all of a sudden isn't going to show up tonight and all of a sudden have 800 yards and dominate the game. It just doesn't happen that way generally in football out there. So I don't know. I'm just laughing at the whole deal there. The thing that worries me about this game is the Cardinals they've struggled on the secondary with mediocre offenses, and they got technically three good weapons that Andy Dalton can throw to tonight with Cooper, Lamb, obviously Gallup. You said, and even Cedric Wilson back there. This might be a nightmare where the first quarter might take 7 hours to complete because of all the incomplete passes and stuff. That ball's just going to be thrown everywhere tonight, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's going to be interesting to me with Wilson how much he's going to see because I think Dak kind of fell in love with him. Don't know exactly how if Andy Dalton's going to fall in love with him. I think there's going to be there's a lot of emphasis this week on make sure we get the ball to Coop because Coop is the highest paid guy, and I don't think he complained last week, but he didn't really get a whole lot of love. So I'm assuming inner workings inside the GM's office. Hey, let's keep our number one guy happy. All right, Andy. So let's do that. And then obviously CeeDee Lamb. And hey, I know you love Michael Gallup. He'll bail you out of situations. I mean, because all three of those guys, I mean, Cooper's just a tremendous route runner. And CeeDee Lamb, from what I can see, he can beat anybody out there on the field. And so can Michael Gallup. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what kind of plays and if they let, Dalton air it out or if we're just kind of set up with these little dink and ducks in and out routes. I kind of feel like they'll let them air it out just because it is a Monday night football game. And going into tonight, Cowboys are, in first place, which is a shocking thing to see after 5 weeks.
Well, I think the key for the Cardinals defense isn't going to be the secondary tonight because one, I don't think they can stop that receiving core from the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be their front seven minus Chandler Jones, which to be honest with you, might be better that Chandler Jones isn't in there because it's going to open up some more passing lanes than Chandler Jones allows you to do when they double team and chip off of him. So I think they need to get to Andy Dalton because he's not going to run the ball. There's no danger of him running the ball tonight. It's getting to him, hitting him when he's throwing, and stuff like that. That's how you're going to help out your secondary. And that's the most important side from the Cardinals' defensive side, I think. Secondary is going to give up run. They're going to give up. It's going to be that bend, don't break kind of a defense there tonight. But I mean, if you look at it, and this means absolutely nothing, but if you want to look at old trends, Andy Dalton has thrown for 731 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the 3 times he's faced the Cardinals, albeit, as a Bengal, not a Cowboy.
Right.
But Cardinals typically struggle against quarterbacks that can sling the ball like Andy Dalton can. And that's the problem is if Andy Dalton had a game before this one, we'd have a better idea. There's a lot of unknowns going in tonight for that Cardinals defense, and that's what's kind of scary on that side.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, too. I mean, you look at last week, obviously Andy Dalton had coming. He had to throw the ball because the Cowboys were behind in that game. But you don't know if it's going to be the gunslinger mentality tonight with Andy Dalton, which is crazy even saying gunslinger mentality. I mean, for some reason, a lot of us wrote this guy off. I mean, I had him pegged to go to the Patriots last when the offseason hit. I was like, oh, he's a Patriot guy. I can see him fitting in with Belichick. I think Andy Dalton would lead the Patriots to the playoffs this year. And now he's the quarterback of, a team that I like. And it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? This is terrible. But I mean, I think when you look at it, he is really the best backup in the NFL. It was a head scratcher whenever the Cowboys signed him, but right now, sure, we'll see if it pays off tonight. I honestly don't know, especially with, just COVID and being what it is. Hasn't been a whole lot of reports on is Andy Dalton in practice right now just hurling the ball left and right? Like, how does that shoulder feel, that arm feel? Like, is he a guy who's going to just come out of the gates and just want to chunk it?
Yeah, and that's there's just so many unknowns. This is kind of like when they went into that first game against the Niners where you were like, let's see what happens,
Right.
And this is kind of the same thing we're dealing with tonight, which actually makes it really, really exciting for this game tonight. But on the other side of it, on the offensive side, I don't think that Cowboys defense, which I don't know if you agree with me on this, they quit 2 weeks ago. They quit on
Oh yeah.
plays, and they quit when they still were in the game. And there's an issue there on that defensive side. And adding now the Kyler, yeah, they practiced against Dak. I get all that stuff, but Dak isn't Kyler Murray by any stretch. Dak doesn't run like Kyler does.
Right.
And I think that extra, yeah, Van Bosch being back is going to kind of curtail that a little bit, but you're going to see this extra dimension against that Cowboys defense on top of DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirker's coming out, and all of that side. So it's the same thing applies to the Cowboys defense as I apply to the Cardinals defense. The difference is I don't think the Cowboys defense is going to get to Kyler Murray, and they don't really have a hope to because they're not going to rush him because they're afraid of his running side. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to agree with you on saying that they quit because they told us that they quit. When you have,
I've
Xavier
heard
Woods,
some people say they didn't, so that's why I was
right? I
like,
mean, when you have Xavier Woods saying, we can't go 100% on every play,
yeah.
that pretty much means to me they quit, right? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, this is a defense that last week I said if they give up 21 points to the Giants, I might get kicked off of social media, and somehow I'm still on, and they did give up 21 points to the Giants offense, who isn't really that great of an offense. So, yeah, I think the dynamics of just what Kyler is, and then you got DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Julio Jones had a field day with the Dallas Cowboys, both through the air and also receiving a few touchdowns as well. So I think, you look at Odell Beckham Jr., he had a field day with this Cowboys offense when the Browns came to town. Last week, the Giants got it done with a hodgepodge group of guys who they have. And, Daniel Jones looked like an MVP candidate. So I think tonight, DeAndre Hopkins, he is going to run wild on the Dallas Cowboys defense. And I actually expect Larry Fitzgerald to have a good game tonight, too.
I mean, they're starting to target Larry now, but he's that slot receiver. So where Larry kills you, because I broke down last week's game in the Cardinals podcast, and him and Andy Isabella were really good across the middle, 15, 20 yards out, which, by the way, is the spot where Kyler Murray is ranked the lowest in completing passes, that 15 to 20 yard range. And last week he was really good at doing that. I think that's a huge deal today, especially if the Cowboys don't rush as much because they're trying to respect the Kyler Murray running. I think that middle across the middle, which is going to open it up for Larry to get some easy pickup 10, 15 yards on a lot of plays. But you're right. But the other side of it is kind of, you do this thing with the Cardinals where it's like, all right, hit D-Hop because he's always open. No matter where you throw the ball, he's going to go get it. But at the same time, don't throw it to him so much.
So right, but I mean, as long as you're winning, right?
Yeah, you have to fight that tonight because if you keep picking at him and keep picking at him, eventually something's going to happen on there. And so we'll see what happens. So you changed your mind. Cowboys winning tonight. I'm disappointed in you.
I flipped a coin, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of changed my mind again right now.
Yeah. If you weren't, let me ask you this, because if you weren't a Cowboys fan and you didn't have that bleeding allegiance to it, you looked at this game objectively, there's really no way you can look at this game and say Cowboys are going to win this game. Nick, give me one thing that will lead the Cowboys to win this game from an objective perspective. I can't think of one.
I mean, the only thing I could see is, their offense is great, and Chandler Jones being hurt, and Budda Baker coming back from a surgery, which, albeit he was full participant in practice, I think that's one of the things where I kind of give the Cowboys a little bit of an edge right there. But now the dynamics changed this week where it's like, okay, what are the Cowboys going to do? So I'm assuming the Cowboys establish the run and keep y'all's offense, the Cardinals offense, off the field. That's what I'm assuming happens tonight is that McCarthy comes out, he establishes the field, time of possession, get an 8-yard drive, and it ends in a touchdown. If it ends in a field goal on an 8-minute drive, then you got some issues, and I don't think the Cowboys win. But if they come out of that first drive, I want the Cowboys, if they win the toss, I want them to receive the first possession tonight. And I want them to drive the ball 8 minutes, get a touchdown, and I'd feel a lot more confident about my pick.
On the offensive side for the Cardinals, Kenyon Drake has to have a big game tonight. I know you texted me last week when they were playing the Jets, and your quote was, Drake is trash. And that's a little harsh. Yeah, and that's a little harsh because he's not trash, he's just ordinary. Where he has those games where he runs it up between the tackles and picks up a lot of yards, and then he has those games where he doesn't. But what he does do that you don't give him credit for, and it's not really giving him credit, is he does enough of his running sideways and dancing that allows Chase Edmonds to get those long. Chase Edmonds has the most
Oh yeah,
touchdowns, 20 plus yards of any running back in the league, and by a lot, by the way. And it's because I think Drake lulls the defense to sleep, and then Edmonds is like, all right, I'll run through this hole and run for 30 yards, you know? Um, and that's just going to open up those Kyler Murray running lanes there. And like you said, just if receivers like Julio Jones, who is a really good receiver in this league, but he's not in Odell Beckham, they're not in DeAndre Hopkins
right.
range at all. So I mean, I'm expecting some big things on that. That's what I'm saying. Like as an objective fan, I'd love to pick out a way where, but I also did this. Keep this in mind. I also did this with the Panthers, and I also did it with the Lions. Actually, the Lions, I said how they could win, and it proved me right with passing the ball. But even with the Panthers, I couldn't think of one way the Panthers should win that game, and then they go out and do it. So
Right.
don't take my word on it.
I mean, I feel like on the defense side for the Cowboys, if they can collapse the pocket around Murray and keep him, within the lines, I think they have a good chance of slowing him down a bunch tonight. But if you can't do that, you let Murray get out of the pocket and run around, it's going to be a lot of hurt for that Cowboys defense. And they're
All
going to be
right.
gasping prayer.
All right, so I got the Cardinals. Like I said, I can't remember my exact score, but it's something like 32-28. I do expect the Cowboys, even if it's late, even if the Cardinals have a big lead, I expect the Cowboys late to make a comeback because that's what they do. To be honest with you, so I kind of
And hopefully that's not the case with Dalton, right?
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like the whole Philip Rivers thing yesterday. Everybody's so amazed at Philip Rivers bringing the. Well, he shouldn't have been down 21-0 to begin with,
Right.
right? So it's kind of the same thing with Dak, where oh great, you were down for three for 3 quarters, and then you decided to start playing against a soft defense. The problem with the Cardinals are if they have those big leads, they tend to. They even did it with the Jets, where they let the Jets come back and get within 7 in that third quarter. And then they dominated after that again. And the Cowboys have just enough talent. My problem is that Mike McCarthy's system. This is where I struggle, Jason. Is Mike McCarthy's offense with Green Bay is the same offense he has in Dallas. Now, Andy Dalton is no Aaron Rodgers by any stretch, but Aaron Rodgers fits that offense better than Dak does.
Right.
So we could possibly see if the moons will rise, right? And Andy Dalton knows this system. We could see an Aaron Rodgers type offense out of Andy Dalton tonight in terms of throwing the football.
It's kind of weird to me. It feels like it's almost an opening day part two for
Exactly.
the Cowboys without Dak. I mean, and obviously you say that because you have a guy like Andy Dalton, a guy who is a quarterback who's led teams to the playoffs before with the Bengals, a guy who you've seen can get it done, not just at the pro level, but also in college. I mean, heck, he was a great quarterback, beat Russell Wilson in the Rose Bowl when he was with TCU. And, it's one of those things. If this was obviously like Brandon Whedon or Bryden Hoyer, be like, oh, well, this game's
Right.
over with. Cardinals are going to win 40-3. But the confidence is still high with Andy Dalton, and I think it's might be a tick higher just because McCarthy is used to a quarterback. I mean, obviously Dalton's nowhere near Aaron Rodgers, but he's used to a guy like what Aaron Rodgers is, where he doesn't have to worry about creating plays to try to get him to run and all this stuff. So I mean, it's going to be fun to see.
I took some heat on Wednesday night's radio show because I compared the two. I'm not comparing Andy Dalton to Aaron Rodgers, but I'm saying he's more like Aaron Rodgers fits in that offense. So and Andy Dalton can sling the ball. That wasn't his problem in Cincinnati by any stretch. It was his talent around him. So
yeah, and Marvin Lewis right there. But man, real quick, last week though, when Dak went down, how crazy is that? That it all kind of came full circle right there. One, you have two NFC teams playing on CBS. Tony Romo's calling this game. Jason Garrett is with the Giants now, and Dak goes down. I mean, a lot of people don't know, but I mean, the whole dynamic. I mean, Romo and Garrett were friends, like outside. We saw that. They were at Duke games, North Carolina games, whatever, hanging out. But, when Dak came in, obviously drafted in the 4th round, it was one of those things like, all right, hey, blow a pick on a quarterback here. We'll see. What this kid has during training camp, not expecting anything, right? Or expecting him to be the starter and lead to a 13-3 game, or 3 season that year. And, when Romo went down, obviously it's like, all right, well, we got to go with this Dak kid now. And they rode the hot hand. They expected him to fall on his face, but they rode the hot hand. And during the season, there was a note left on Jason Garrett's desk that said, let's effing go, signed 9. So Romo was saying, all right, let's go. It's my time. Let's bring it back. And then he eventually realized that he wasn't coming back. So him and Garrett's relationship went down the wayside. Jerry Jones offered Romo a contract. Romo said, "Dude, you and me are the only ones that want this. I'm not going to do it." And now he's in the CBS booth, and the guy who took over his job goes down, and Jason Garrett was right there out in the field. So it's like, wow, crazy.
Well, the other crazy side of it is, if you want to take it even farther, is the Cowboys are the one team that every year gets a, when was the last big name quarterback they drafted and got and played, right? I mean,
Right.
Romo wasn't, Dak wasn't.
Troy Aikman, I
Um,
guess,
yeah,
was the
Aikman, but
last
so we're
big
going back
name.
to the 80s because
Yeah, I mean, could you say Quincy Carter maybe?
yeah,
He
no,
was
he
drafted
wasn't
in the
he
second
wasn't a
round.
high,
Right. He was a second round guy, led
yeah.
him to the playoffs,
So
but
is the problem with the Cowboys? We want to delve into this psychological. Let's Freud the Cowboys for a second. The reason why they go 8-8 every year is because they literally just find some lower end. I mean, name a team other than the Cowboys that have taken a non big name or big expectations quarterback and done well. Seattle's the only one I can think of consistently with Russell
mm,
Wilson.
yeah, consistently. Yeah, but a lot of
I'm,
those teams have good defenses too.
Yeah, you'll have a flare up every once in a while, and the Cowboys have. They've had a like Romo had a couple really good years, and they went back to whatever.
And a lot of those good years with Romo was when the team had good defenses
Yeah,
too. I mean, the first year the Wade Phillips defense, it worked out pretty dang good for Romo and the
and
company.
they're reliving it right now with Dak because they don't want to sign him. They don't want to sign him. They don't want. Now he's injured. Now they say they want to sign him, and it's like, what are you guys doing? It's baffling. But a NFL team, for people that don't know, can make a lot of money going 8-8, 9-7, and an occasional playoff run after that. And Jerry is playing that game perfectly. He never has that ultra down year, and he never has that ultra high year. And he just stays right there in the middle, and he just constantly makes the money. And that's the secret, and why Jerry Jones is the GOAT of owners right now, in my
And
opinion.
when it was a down year during the Romo era, it's because Romo got hurt and missed
Yeah.
half the season.
Yeah,
And now he's solved that issue by bringing in Andy Dalton.
well, and that's the thing is I think that's where they learned because they went after Andy Dalton, which you're right. I mean, they could have gotten Cam. They could have gotten anybody to go in behind him for a year. I mean, Cam's contract with the Patriots, all the teams that could have signed Cam have to be kicking themselves because that contract is ridiculously
Oh
low for
yeah.
him. And he could, I mean, the Bears, for instance, with Nick Foles and things like that. It's just amazing. And I think they kind of learned from that. And that's why they went out and got an Andy Dalton, who you're not expecting to take you to the Super Bowl, but he has the capability to if the rest of the team is
Mm-hmm.
there. So, all right, man. Well, where are you watching the game tonight?
Going to be watching the game at home. Going to miss the ending though. Got to take the kid to baseball practice tonight. So
That's what 1580 the Fanatic is for. Oh, it's
right,
not
right.
on there. It's 620
Yeah,
tonight.
except it's not
Oops.
on there. So that's what the ESPN app is for. When
Yeah, I like how we're naming the competition when you're obviously in studio right now. So go
hey,
1580.
there you go.
All right, man. I
Get
appreciate
that
you
little
hop.
piece game in 30 minutes.
I appreciate you all hopping on. Maybe I'll have you on after this game next couple days, and we'll let it rebound, and we'll decide what happens, and maybe have you on, and we'll both complain about how bad our teams looked when it's a
Exactly.
3-0 ball game tonight.
Yeah, we'll see you in the playoff. Hey, maybe we'll get one of those Notre Dame Louisville 12-7 matchup.
Exactly.
Just what we want on Monday night, right?
Oh, anything but that. Especially because the Chiefs game's kicking off here in 30 minutes, and I don't know what to expect in that one. But if when your game's the second game and it's a blowout or just awful, it's way worse than if it was the only game today.
Right.
You
I
know
mean,
what I
I
mean?
expect the Chiefs to be kind of angry, but I also expect the Bills to be kind of angry. So I think it's going to be just an angry football game here coming up.
Well, good because it'll be good to see. So, all right, man. I appreciate you hopping on, and we'll talk in a bit.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Go Cardinals.
Go Cowboys.
All right. Of course, that was Jason Carter, the producer, third wheel. I don't know what they call him anymore. Co-host, semi-co-host, third co-host of the, of course, morning show on 1580 The Fanatic, Bruce and Helly. Joining us there, diehard Cowboy fans, for all of you that know him and everything on there. So it's just great to get another perspective other that, from this matchup tonight for the local people here on the Cardinals Dallas matchup coming up here. So he had a few minutes. He's obviously at work there at the station, and asked him to come on, and he was gracious to do so. So let's keep going on the NFL. Let's get that wrapped up. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff going on, right? You got World Series starting up here. I got Adam's picks and everything. And Adam, as in case you missed it, actually is under the weather today, like really under the weather. I don't know what that means. I know today you speculate what people are under the weather. I even made the comment to him. What you got? You got it? You got it or what? But he sounded horrible on the phone, so he would not be able to talk today. So he won't be joining us. So sit back and watch this exciting stuff here as we dominate the conversations here. So really weird with no Thursday night football, of course, last week. I felt like this week in the NFL was a little weird to get into, to be honest with you, because no Thursday night football. You didn't get all exciting. You didn't get all, into it on Thursday night. Get ready to go, and then, yesterday's games were kind of a dud, also a little bit on there. So, Mikkel on the. I'll pass this along to him. I'm sure he's watching it still. But Mikkel, I couldn't. The way I had it set up, I couldn't get the Facebook comments up like I normally do, so I'm a little late on these, so I apologize. But Mikkel says, "Looking good with all the hair on your face, Chief. Haven't been able to listen to the morning show in a while. Cardinals secondary will help the Cowboys win this game." So you're kind of on that side, Mikkel. Sounds good there. I hope you're wrong, but definitely is a worry spot for me. As I said, I'm going to focus more on the front seven getting to the quarterback a little bit more to keep them from getting to the secondary with the throws and everything. And then Mikkel also says Drake and Edmonds are both secondary backs. Cardinals need a primary running back. I think that's the problem with a lot of teams in the league and everything as well. So I'll make sure Chief sees that hair on his face comment because, man, does he ever love his beards, right? For those of you that follow him and everything and watch it. And Mikhail, also, a lot of people don't really listen to the morning show. It's too early in the morning. What's this 6 a.m. to 10 stuff? Man, some of us don't get up till later. Of course, I do. I'm just kidding around. Um, so, other football games yesterday. Few big games, couple controversial games. A lot of duds. For instance, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, right? 38-10. Tampa Bay beats the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers has his dud game that he can generally have as he needs to. Started off really good for Green Bay, and then just downhill from there at that point. The Bucks just had the perfect game plan. Um, Brady was picking apart that Green Bay defense. A lot of short, I guess you'd call them intermediate passes. Um, every once in a while went deep on the Packers defense. And it kind of just exposed that Packers defense is that middle of the field is kind of where you can attribute that. It was just a disappointing game, and to watch. They're expected more out of Green Bay. So now today I was reading some Green Bay stuff, and they were talking about how maybe this is Green Bay. Maybe this is what Green Bay is. Now, in confidence between us, I did not have Green Bay doing very well last year. And they went to the NFC Championship game. I didn't have them doing well this year either, taking a step back even more. And they kind of surprised me at the beginning of the year where Aaron Rodgers was dominating. Generally, when that happens, you kind of come back to earth as the season goes on. So we'll have to wait and see. Buccaneers defense is a really, really good defense. And that was the first game where Aaron Rodgers went up against a really good defense this year. We'll have to see how they rebound as they go along. But overall, kind of a dud of a game there. I know a lot of people had Cleveland beating Pittsburgh yesterday. I didn't. Pittsburgh. I think Cleveland is a fraud with their whatever their record was, 4-1 at the time or whatever. I thought they were a fraud. They do a lot of trick plays in order to win games. Landry has to throw the ball to OBJ. They even Baker Mayfield was sick, started the game and ended up getting replaced in the game, which I think was kind of the idea going into the game. I was reading a lot about that going into the game. But that quarterback wasn't the problem. It's just the Pittsburgh Steelers are a better team than the Browns, who are now 4-2 on the year, and they have a lot of injuries right now. Of course, Baker's taking a lot of heat today because his stat line isn't what you'd want it to be for a starting quarterback, but he was sick. He didn't play the whole game. But there's something going on in Cleveland that isn't clicking. And whether it's nobody likes Baker Mayfield or nobody likes OBJ or whatever, and now with Nick Chubb being out, it was just a game. I kind of expected to be a blowout. I believe I said last week, either on the radio show or on the Thursday show, that Pittsburgh was going to dominate that game, and they did. It wasn't a shocker to me, and a lot of people had Cleveland going. One shocker to me yesterday was the last Sunday night game. The San Francisco 49ers beat the LA Rams, of course, 24-16 last night. Shocker because the Rams have been on fire. One of the best teams in the NFL. I even saw a couple articles last week saying that the best team in the NFL wasn't Seattle and wasn't the Packers, that it was the Rams. And a battered, injured. Now they're getting their players back. They lost to Miami the week before. But 24-16, San Francisco beating the Rams was a shocker to me last night. Kind of brought it back to what I thought the Rams were going to be this year is how I thought they would be how they were last night. So now will that continue with the Rams? Are they coming back down to earth, or are they going to be able to go out there and get back and keep winning like they were before this? I mean, Aaron Donald was kind of did not have a very good game last night against these 49ers. But George Kittle, tight end for the Niners, obviously had a huge game if you watched that last night. So it was kind of a shocker. Philadelphia actually kept this game with the Ravens close. I think I declared that there's no chance the Eagles were winning this game yesterday. They came back late. They scored 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns yesterday, held the Ravens to 3 field goals. So basically turned a 17-point deficit into a 2-point game late in there. It was all don't let it deceive you. It wasn't all late thing for the Eagles to come back into this game. So two things happened where it's disappointing. The Ravens let their foot off the pedal, right, and let the Eagles back into it. But it was also good to see what is now the 1-4, and I think it's 1-4-1 Eagles because they have the tie. They don't give up. They still keep that fight going, and Eagles are going to be a team. They're not out of that NFC East, especially if the Cardinals win tonight against the Cowboys. The Eagles are still in line to win a couple games and win that division. So Philly's not out of it. They didn't give up on it, and those were the two things I kind of got out of that last night. Carson Wentz is kind of waking up on the season. He had that awful start against Washington, slowly gotten better a little bit. Still isn't the quarterback we all thought he would be in this league by any stretch of the imagination. But doesn't let him quit and brings him back. So another shocker. I think this was the shocker of all shockers. A lot of people did not have this. Of course, the Broncos beat the Patriots. Patriots had a couple weeks off, right, because of COVID issues, or 1 week off. They just lost to the Chiefs, I think, 2 weeks ago. Cam Newton was back for the first time. Patriots just looked discombobulated. Cam Newton had 76 rushing yards and led the team, but led the team because nobody else even had a chance to run the ball. They had 3 players. Sony Michel was out. They had 3 or 4 other players that were on the COVID list. Shaq Mason was out with a calf injury. Their starting guard, their center, was out last night. And it was just a bad game for the Patriots. Broncos showed up, and Drew Lock's first game since his injury, so they finally have a quarterback that's fairly good there. Now, the shocker that kind of surprised me on this even more was that Melvin Gordon, of course, is unavailable. They said he had a sore throat, even though he obviously had that DUI last week and sat out the game. And he's going to get some suspensions there, which does hurt my fantasy team pretty bad. There. Bears beat the Panthers. I, of course, had the Panthers winning this game just because I thought the Bears. It's funny because a lot of my Chicago fans, all you out there in Chicago, were just ripping Matt Nagy all throughout this game. I take the stance that Matt Nagy isn't a good head coach because of his play calls and not setting his team up to do it. A lot of people just say Matt Nagy's awful head coach and needs to be fired on the spot. I try to put a little bit more behind it. And as I said a couple weeks ago with Adam, is this Bears team, now that they got through the start, being, 4-1 going into this game, and I said they're going to win 10 games, easy. They're going to win 10 games. They could possibly win 12 games this year with their schedule. with how bad Minnesota is going and things like that. And but the difference I thought in this game would be the Bears defense would struggle to contain Bridgewater, get to him, and Bridgewater was uncomfortable all game. His throws were off. He was overthrowing guys. He was underthrowing guys. He was trying to scramble and just get hit. He wasn't able to go through his progressions, and the Bears defense definitely flustered the deal. And I will say this: the Bears defense is what got him that win. The Bears offense, just not. It's not impressive. There's nothing impressive about it. Even with Nick Foles, is it better than when Trubisky was running it? Yes, but it's just so unimpressive. Just the play calling is unimpressive. The way the plays are executed are unimpressive, and needs to obviously get up, or it's going to be a really good season for the Bears and then a really bad postseason for the Bears. So, but that's the nice thing, right? Defense wins championships. And that Bears defense will get them some wins, but their offense doesn't perform. And that's what happened yesterday. So, I mean, the Panthers with Matt Rule is the new head coach there. Teddy Bridgewater is the new quarterback there. Like I said, was just out of sync all game. And they had a lot of opportunities. They just couldn't convert over it. And that's just going to come with time for the Panthers. And I didn't expect the Panthers to be out of sync so much yesterday. And like I said, the Bears defense stepped up, and I didn't think they would yesterday to do it. So good for them. So Titans beat the Houston Texans yesterday, 42-36. Controversial ending on this game. Yesterday it was controversial. Today a lot more people are coming out saying that they made the right call going for two at the end of that game because their defense was atrocious. That's fine. You can argue with me all you want on Twitter for those of you that did. So they go for it on fourth down, and they get the touchdown, and which puts the Houston Texans up 7 before the extra point. Houston Texans go for 2, fail to convert it. Obviously, if they got the 2, they would win the game. Fail to convert it. They're up by 7 and kicking off to the Tennessee Titans. Texans haven't stopped the Titans all game. They just got done with a 7, play drive. I mean, it was ridiculous. The Titans were all over the place on the other. You had no faith that the Texans defense was going to stop them. So here's my contention. What I would do, and what yesterday I saw a lot of people saying they would do, is you kick the extra point, go up by 8. Right? Because I saw a lot of people yesterday saying, well, the Tennessee Titans can go down and score. They converted a 2-point conversion earlier, so they can convert it again. Well, the Titans could go down and score a touchdown, do a 2-point conversion, and win the game there, too. So why don't you put it 8 so there's no danger of nothing but an overtime deal? Yeah, you go for the win. Fine. Did it work? No. Are you now 1-5? Yes. So why not kick the extra point, go up by 8, kick off to the Titans, let them do whatever they're going to do. If they get down and score a touchdown, then instead of an easy extra point, they can kick a 2-point convert. They have to make a 2-point conversion, which, quite frankly, is harder than an extra point. I know some people are saying it isn't, but it is. It's harder to do. You want to know why it's harder to do? Because the Texans tried it and they didn't get it, which is why they're only up by 7. And then if you do that, then you can go to overtime and see what happens. That's all my contention is. Going for the win, absolutely bold strategy, Cotton. Bold strategy, Cotton. But when it backfires, you're able to be second guessed. A lot of it. Now, I will say this. If this was Bill O'Brien as head coach, it wouldn't be looking as favorable today by a lot of people as it is with Romeo Crennel as the head coach. Because an interim head coach is given those things, trying to motivate the team, trying to show the team they can win. You give that with a new coach or an interim head coach. Bill O'Brien wouldn't have gotten the same conversation. And I don't care who the head coach is. I'm looking at it from an X's and O, possibilities on what happened. I understand the Texans had no faith their defense would stop the Titans on that last drive. I agree 100%. Everybody thought Tennessee was going to get the ball and go down and score a touchdown. So make him do a 2-point conversion. Maybe your defense can lock him up on that 2-point conversion and win the game by 1, or win the game by 2, basically, instead of having him just kick an extra point for the overtime. It's failed logic in my eyes. I don't get it. The only reason it's being applauded is because it's an interim head coach and he's showing some balls or brazen play. The no-brainer side of it is you kick it, go up by 8, make them work harder to get to that overtime. Either way you look at it, you're 1-5, and Houston, you're god awful. Good luck retooling for next year. So, um, I did see some people change their minds today that I was reading yesterday that said it was a bad play call. Some people changed their mind because of the situation where they weren't stopping him. And that doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me at all. What matters is you make it as hard for the other team to tie the game or win the game as you can. That's the goal, right? And obviously, if they would have made that play, we wouldn't even be in this discussion right now. We'd all be saying, what a great 2 point conversion. But didn't. That's the other side of it. It didn't go through. So we can't say, oh, but if it would have, it didn't. They're 1-5 now. It didn't go through. So stop giving me the, but if it would have. Nobody cares. It didn't happen. Kick the extra point, go up by 8, let them drive down the field and try to stop them. You have a job. Try to stop them. And if you don't, then worst case, it's overtime. We could play the what if game all we want. So what if Tennessee went down the field, scored a touchdown, 6, they go for the 2 point conversion because they were so dominant, and they win the game on the 2 point conversion. We can play this what if game all we want. Bottom line is, make him go up by 8, make him go down, score on 2 point conversion, and then go to overtime if that happens. Simple, basic football play calling. You can be ballsy all you want, but when it doesn't work out, we get to criticize you. And those of you that say it was, oh, it's not a no-brainer call, it is a no-brainer call. You know why it's a no-brainer call? Because what is controversial and what everybody is talking about is how ballsy it was for you to kick to go for 2 and not get it. Everybody's saying how brazen that was. Oh, you can do that as an interim coach, but a head coach would have gotten knocked on it. You know why you're talking like that? It's because it's not the logical play to make. It's a brazen call, and that's why it goes against the book, and that's why it's a hard call. Enough of that. Had enough of that crap on Twitter last night. Everybody trying to tell me that it's not a no-brainer to kick that. It is, because you know why? If it wasn't a no-brainer, you wouldn't be talking about it today. There. The Colts had to come back and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Colts are now 4-2. They, of course, overcame a 21-0 first half deficit to maintain an unbeaten record at home this season. Whew. I saw everybody's praising Phillip Rivers today, and this drives me nuts. And I said it on Twitter last night. I replied to one of the people. I believe it was Big George, as a matter of fact, from the Twitter first there. Big George. And I said, so Phillip Rivers gets down 21-0 in the first half of that game, mounts a fourth quarter comeback, wins it, and we're supposed to get up and swoon about how great Phillip Rivers is all of a sudden? They shouldn't have been down 21-0 to Bengals. I have a hard time giving a quarterback credit. Like, okay, he gets credit for coming back, but he doesn't get, he's a great quarterback. He's great at comeback quarterbacks when you're the one that gets him down 21-0. And then you do this Malthus comeback. It's great. You showed up. You played. You get credit for that. But I'm not going to anoint you a great quarterback or a good comeback quarterback when you got yourself down that far and then you had to bring him back. That's like the fireman that starts the fire and then shows up to put it out. He doesn't get credit. He gets credit for putting it out, but he doesn't get credit for starting it. How about that? How about that analogy there, folks? But the Colts ended up winning. Joe Burrow's fantastic. He's going to be a fantastic quarterback in this league. I cannot say it enough. It just sucks that he's not going to have any wins this year, but he is going to be a stud in this league. I mean, his offensive line gave him time yesterday. They only season low 2 sacks allowed. He was able to throw the ball to AJ Green. AJ Green was engaged yesterday. Team high 8 catches for 96 yards. And they extended, him and AJ Green got together and extended a lot of third down plays to extend the drives out there. The play calling by the Bengals head coach, who I can't remember his name right now. I don't think I ever knew it, to be honest with you. That's those are my priority on Bengals. Is that Taylor? Is that the Zach Taylor, or is that Cleveland? Anyway, goes out there. I don't even care to look it up. So there you go. But they kind of went back on their heels in the second half and stopped attacking on offense and going after them. And that happens, especially to a young team. Happens to a lot of older teams, let alone some young teams out there. And learning thing for them. And Philip Rivers is getting all of his due today because he brought him back, and apparently we're supposed to put him in the Hall of Fame for bringing a team back when you got down by so far. Falcons get their first win. All right, here's the conversation we got to have, everybody. I have not been a Mike Zimmer fan at all, ever. I think he's not very good. I think he's held the Vikings back for a few years now. I think that if they got a coach in there, more of an offensive coach, it would be better. I understand Kirk Cousins keeps throwing interceptions. I understand Kirk Cousins is what Kirk Cousins is. Not the best, not the worst. Has really, really bad games when he's really bad. Has really good games when he's really good. But generally, it's one or the other. Not very good. Mike Zimmer can't dial this in. Just signed a contract extension in the offseason, and everybody, I said it, Adam said it, we all said it. Why are you extending him right now? And now, how bad does this contract extension look? This is your out to get rid of Mike Zimmer as a Minnesota Vikings fan. This team has talent. Now, granted, they were without Dalvin Cook yesterday, and did nothing in the running game, leaving the ball to Kirk Cousins, where Kirk Cousins' strength is not running the game and dominating the game. He turns the ball over a lot, which has happened now, right? Julio Jones and Matt Ryan had a great game yesterday. They're coming to the end of their careers. They might not be on this Falcons team next year with the head coaching firings and stuff like that, but they're there. So, what do you do with Mike Zimmer at this point? You eat that additional salary that you just signed him to? Same thing with the GM. When you lose your starting running back, Dalvin Cook, to an injury and nobody to replace him, you have no good backup to replace him and go in there. That's just bad GMing. That's just bad team management. You can have, I mean, look at Carolina, right? McCarthy goes down. Davis is having a good, he's filling in. He's no McCarthy, but he's filling in. McCarthy, whatever, McCaffrey. He's filling in fine. You got to have somebody that can fill in and take that spot, and they just don't have it. It's just, the Vikings are just atrocious. It's just disgusting. Mike Zimmer has been on my list. I took him off my hot seat list this year because he signed the extension, even though nobody understands why he did, why they allowed him to do that. But he's firmly on this hot seat again. It might come to the point if they keep looking this badly that you have to eat that additional salary you just signed him to, because this team ain't rebounding next year. When you get this bad and when you make these bad decisions, you don't come out of it with the same head coach. You have to make the change. This team isn't going to come back next year and say, last year was a wash, we're coming back. This team is checking this coach out right now. It needs to be done. More on Mike Zimmer as the season goes on, I'm sure, because they're not getting any better. They're atrocious. They're disappointing. We expected so much more from the Vikings, and we're just not getting it at all. It's just okay. Vikings just thought they'd walk out on the field this year and dominate. Mike Zimmer thought he had enough talent that he could just do whatever and it was going to win. How's that working out for you there, coach? Detroit Lions beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-16. Matthew Stafford, 223, one touchdown, one interception. Of course, he did have a 17-yard scramble to set up the Lions' first of four TVs. It's nice to see Matthew Stafford running again because, he had that back issue where he broke his back and everything. That's obviously gone by the wayside. I kind of still, when he runs the ball, but that's just the whole back thing. I did the same thing with Tony Romo. I feel like even if your back is completely healed, once you have a back problem, it's just one hit away from coming back. Kenny Galladay is still dominating for them and everything. Gardner Minshew is having to basically do everything himself. They have no running game. They don't have very good receivers, and it's all on Minshew's hands right now, and it's not going well for him. James Robinson didn't run the ball yesterday for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 12 for 29. Yeah, that stat is correct. 12 carries, 29 yards. Ridiculous, right? But Detroit, Patricia takes a lot of stuff, and he's definitely on my hot list deal there. Now, granted, it was Jacksonville. Jacksonville is what we expected him to be. other than the beating the Colts in Week 1. This is exactly what we thought Jacksonville would be. They're putting up actually more points than we thought they would. I thought they would. So Detroit Lions beat them. Good. Doesn't mean Patricia's still not on the hot seat. He needs to move on as well. But we'll get into that. Dolphins beat the Jets. Man, what a day for the Miami Dolphins. They're 3-3 now. I told you, Miami Dolphins play hard. I keep harping on this on Twitter, on Facebook at the Main Event Pod, on the radio shows, on these shows. Dolphins are a good, decent, probably average team. They might not get to 8 wins, but they'll win 6 or 7 wins. They'll play hard. They love playing for Brian Flores. He gets the most out of his players. This guy's a heck of a head coach. If he had talent on that team, this team would be really good in that division and winning a lot more games out there. And, 24-0 over the Jets. Adam Gase is what he is. Him and Greg Williams are fighting. So now not only obviously the Jets trade one of their, I think, an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman to the Buccaneers the other day. They're obviously just unloading players instead of getting rid of the coach, and they have good players. They get rid of all their good players instead of the coach. Obviously, they're siding with Gase for the rest of the year. They're not going to fire him in the middle of the season, obviously, no matter how bad it gets, because you would have done it already. But here's the other side. Will Greg Williams, who I think is the biggest dirtbag in NFL football, don't know him at all, don't care to know him. It's just, I love hard-hitting defense, and I love defensive coaches that are hard hitters and everything. It's just he crosses the line. He's just a giant dirtbag in my eyes. Now he's causing problems again, just like he did in Cleveland, just like he did with the Saints, just like he did with everywhere else he's been. Complete dirtbag, right? I don't know why he keeps getting jobs. He's causing problems again. Is Greg Williams going to get the axe before Gase? Because they both need to go. They both need to go. If I was owner, they would both be gone. They would have both been gone. Gase would have been gone at the end of the season last year. But even going into this year, he'd be gone by now. They're just atrocious. They're not playing hard. They don't want to play for him. It's obvious nobody wants to play for him. He needs to go. Change the culture. Now with Greg Williams and all his games he's doing, he needs to go now too. So you have to make 2 coaching changes to get through this season for the for the Jets here. So, I mean, for weeks now, even last year, we all were like, when are they going to get rid of him? When are they going to get rid of him? When are they going to get rid of him? Now that I said they're going to keep him all year, they'll probably get rid of him sooner. But anytime they do it, it's too late. This team's quit. This team doesn't care. They don't want to play for the guy. Now they don't want to play for Greg Williams. He's a dirtbag, showing it again. Jets need to just blow it up. Blow it up in the middle of the season. I have started the hashtag Fold the Jets on Twitter. They should just fold them. They should just take them out. Everybody gets paid on the Jets that's on the team, player-wise, and just don't play any other games. Just sit on the sideline. Everybody's going to get a win against you anyway. Just sit on the side. You get the number 1 pick. We all move on. This is atrocious what's happening there. Washington Giants, fantastic game here. Giants get their first win on the year. This isn't a big surprise because both these teams aren't very good. But it came down to the same thing, right, at the end because, Dwayne Haskins was inactive with an illness. Allen came back and started after his injury last week, I believe it was. He was all right as a starter. Alex Smith didn't play very well last week at all. He's the back there. I mean, quarterback problem. Washington has a lot of problems, but quarterback is one of them. But same type of a thing. At the end of the game, they could have. They went for 2. They didn't get it. That's what bad teams do. That's my point in Houston thing is you go for 2 in bad situations, kind of motivate a bad team, stuff like that. It's not very good. But the Giants have their first win. Here's the deal, though. Is the Washington football team at 1-5, because the Giants are 1-5 now, currently owns the draft tiebreaker over its NFC East foe, meaning the Giants, in the upcoming Lawrence sweepstakes. Of course, the Jets own it right now by themselves, and then the Giants, and then Washington. So, who cares? Right? Who cares about that right now? So tonight, of course, excuse me here. Tonight, of course, at 2 p.m., getting ready to kick off here, 2 p.m. my time, here in about 4 minutes. So I'm going to have it on while we talk here and go into Major League Baseball and stuff here. But the 4-1 Chiefs are playing the 4-1 Buffalo Bills here at 2 p.m. Fox, of course, NFL Network, Amazon. Then we lead into the Cardinals Cowboys, which we led the show with when Jason Carter / Chief was very gracious enough to join us, talk a little football. Exciting times, exciting times. A good day of football. Just bear with me here for the next 30 minutes or so while we talk other stuff and have the game on in the background. That's what I'm doing. You guys can do it too. So let's see what happens. So in the football picks, we had, of course, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, Chicago and Carolina, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, Arizona, Dallas. So obviously 2 of the games are tonight. So I had Pittsburgh winning. Adam had Pittsburgh winning. Kaylor had Pittsburgh winning. So we're all 1-0 there. I picked Carolina. They both picked Chicago. So I'm 1-1. They're 2-0. We all had Green Bay winning. Obviously, that didn't happen. So, yeah, no fun. I'm 1-2 going into tonight's 2 games. So let's go team. All access crew, of course. McKellen intern, Autumn, are involved in this picks this year. We'll get more of you involved next year. I've had a few people ask about it, and we'll expand it next year. It's kind of a last minute deal to thank a couple listeners that have been around for a while, and as it grows there. So Cleveland at Pitt, they both had Pittsburgh. They both had. I'm sorry, intern had Chicago. Carolina was McKell, so he lost that one, and then they both had Green Bay, which of course is a loss there. So. We'll have the updates. I'll post the updates out. And then tonight, I guess I should say, both have Kansas City. Intern has Arizona, and Mikkel went with Dallas tonight. So, and of course, for us, me and Adam have Buffalo here at the 2 o'clock game. Kaylor has Kansas City. And then I have Arizona, and Adam has Arizona, and Kaylor has Dallas tonight. So we'll post it up here tomorrow or late tonight after the games tonight and see update on the season, see who's winning it and everything like that. Because we were all pretty close there for a while going into this. All access crews lagging behind what we call the hosts, but that's just I didn't know what else to call ourselves. I was witty on the all access crew. I lost wittiness when it came to the other stuff here. So. That is the games. Kind of a dull week, I thought. This week's going to be a little bit better. We do get Thursday Night Football back. We'll talk more about this on Thursday. But welcome back, Thursday Night Football. 1-5 Giants against the 1-4-1 Eagles. So Cowboys need the win tonight because Eagles have a chance to win on Thursday night against the Giants and can get back in that division. But we do have some heavyweights this weekend. A couple 5-0 teams battling it out this weekend in an early game. Be fun. Of course, you have Cardinals and Seahawks this weekend in Glendale, and they are going to allow 1,200 fans. I've been asked by a few people. Yes, I did get the email. Yes, I do have a ticket window to purchase tickets if they're available for 1,200 people. Man, a Seattle game. I'm intrigued to go because 1,200 people in a 60,000 stadium. Now, all the seats are within the yard lines in the lower level. They're all social distance, everything. It's the Seahawks, so I don't think this is going to go well. But we'll see. I'll have more info on Thursday if I get the tickets or not. 2 tickets is all you can get. And we'll see how the window goes. But I'm intrigued on what a game would be like with that few people. It'll bring me back to those of you bring me back to Sun Devil Stadium days when there was only 1,200 people in that stadium for games for a lot of weeks. But we'll have more info on that, obviously, leading up to or on Thursday as we get it all dialed in. So that's kind of the NFL this week. Of course, like I said, we'll post the picks up after tonight on who's won, all that good stuff. So some news out of hockey today that actually is kind of a bummer. Those of us that follow hockey, that love hockey, just wanted to touch on it really quick. Doc Emmerich retiring. Of course, the voice of hockey, great, does all the national broadcasts, and does such a great job. He brings the game of hockey to life when you listen to him. He is retiring from broadcasting. Obviously was on NHL on NBC. He covered more than 3,700 games, 22 Cup finals. Um, for those of you that don't know, his first name is Mike. He goes by Docto Emmerich. 47-year career broadcasting, professional hockey. And like I said, 74-year-old will continue to contribute to NBC Sports. NBC Sports, excuse me, I got the hiccups, by occasionally writing and narrating video essays for its NHL coverage. So he was doing the games this year, obviously from home. Um, you know, because of COVID reasons and everything, and he just decided this was the year to hang it up. Um, Fantastic. Just he was so good that he brought the game of hockey to life. It was exciting to listen to, and good for him to retire. It's exciting. We all lose because he wants to retire. And as I've said it numerous times on here, I just wish some of these people that we see stop getting old, so we can still have good things in our lives, right? 2020 takes another thing from us if you want to go that route. So, good for him retiring though. Can't argue with that, right? On the hockey world, I'm sorry. Other quick news here, since we don't really do the quick hits very much anymore, because quite frankly, most of the news is sports that we go into. If you guys are into the charity golf thing that's been going on, um, last time what was what Tiger, Phil, Tom, and Peyton. This time coming out, it's going to be Charles Barkley, Stephen Curry, uh, Tiger Woods will not be a part of it, and Tom Brady, and of course Phil Mickelson for the latest charity golf match. I didn't have any interest in this before when it was Tiger, Phil, Tom, and Peyton. Didn't watch it. Barely watched the highlights. Heard about it. I'm going to do the same thing here, but I just wanted to bring it up. Obviously, the last one was called. This one's also going to be called The Match. Capital One's The Match. Champions for Change. It's going to be a modified alternate shot. And we'll begin at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, the day after Thanksgiving. And it'll be on TNT. So, yeah, I still don't care. Charles Barkley is an awful golfer. People will watch it though to laugh at him. So there's always that side of it, Charles. You can be laughed at and everything. So we're at the hour point. I'm just going to roll through this because we probably only have 20 minutes or so here left. So I'm just going to power through this podcast here, and instead of breaking it up into the 2 hours, we'll just power through to the 30 more minutes here at the most here. Major League Baseball, of course, last night. Dodgers came back down late. Bellinger hits a home run. Dodgers win the game. They win the series 4-3. Of course, they're going to go up against Tampa Bay because they beat the Houston Astros 4-3 in their Game 7 on Saturday night. So 2 Game 7 in a row. Fantastic. Both of these series were fantastic. Teams got up 3-1. Teams came back. Fantastic series. Fantastic series. I enjoyed them all. Had everything. Had pitching issues. Had hitters. Everything. Game 1, of course, on the World Series. Tampa Bay and the Los Angeles Dodgers from Texas, from the Rangers Stadium. Game 1 is Tuesday, October 20th. So, of course, tomorrow night, 8:09 p.m. Eastern, 6:09 p.m. of course Phoenix time, 8 p.m. Chicago time. Tampa Bay Dodgers. I have Adam's pick on this. Anybody guess who it is? Anybody that follows this should know. Adam picks the Tampa Bay Rays to win the World Series. That's actually who I got also. They have been dominating. They play as a team. There's no reason I will not go with them right now. Dodgers struggled. They dominated, of course, against the San Diego Padres, the Milwaukee Brewers in the first round, Padres in the second round. Had their hands full with the Atlanta Braves. And Atlanta Braves young. That's what I was worried about with them. They were dynamic though, and they held their own. It's just they crumbled at the end to a team with a lot more experience, a little bit older. Tampa Bay playing like a team. That's the one difference. Atlanta's kind of a hot hit or miss with their bats. Tampa Bay plays like a team. I'm thinking the Rays are going to win this also. So me and Adam both have the Rays. I'll get that out on social media coming up. Let us know who your pick is going to this World Series. Of course, Game One is to a team with tomorrow night as well. A little bit older. Um, just pulling up the Facebook comments here again since I had to switch off of it. Make sure I hadn't missed anything yet. So, um, I've been breaking down this series. It's going to be the same thing. Kershaw starting Game One. Glasnow starting Game One for the Tampa Bay Rays. I think it's a solid starting matchup. Both of them can give up runs. Both of them can shut people down. So we'll have to see what happens. So, of course, Game One is Tuesday. Game two is Wednesday. Then Thursday's off. Friday they play at the 23rd. They play Saturday the 24th. If needed, Game 5 on October 25th. Then they'll have Sunday off, if my math's correct, which leads it to Game 7 on the 27th and 28th. No. Okay, I'm all backwards. Okay, hold on. So Game 1 tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Game 2 Wednesday night. Thursday night's off. So Friday a game, Saturday a game, Sunday a game, Monday off. Then Game 6 and Game 7 on that Tuesday and Wednesday if needed. My math was all confused. I had to pull up a calendar for that, just so you guys know. Couldn't break up the math and everything. So as we go through, so obviously you got Snell will win. Will start Game 2 of the World Series coming up for the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm not sure if the Dodgers have said he's going to start Game 2. So for them, let me see here real quick. Let's see. Nope. Nobody for Game 2 for the Dodgers yet. So we'll have to wait and see on that coming up. So definitely let me know what you guys, who you guys think is going to win this. Talent-wise, money-wise, Dodgers should win this thing, right? The best team in baseball. Going into this series, they were known as the best team. Rays have showed that they're a good team on there. Dodgers have had to earn it a little bit more in terms of fighting back when they, quite frankly, had it easy the first couple rounds, as we talked about. So hopefully Tampa Bay can just win it. I don't know what else to say about it, to be honest with you. I can make a bunch of stuff up if you want to. It's going to be a closer series than you think it is. It's not going to be a blowout. I see some people saying Dodgers in 4, Dodgers in 5. I don't think that's the case at all. Is this going to be another year where the Dodgers don't win the World Series when they should? And, continue that. Does Dave Roberts have a job if they don't win this World Series and for finally, if they don't beat Tampa Bay? A lot of question marks on that side as we go forward here. So, it's interesting to see. I mean, I was reading today that the Dodgers have, just in prorated salaries for their big boys, where they prorate their salaries out, is like $50 million higher than the entire Tampa Bay Rays salary on their team. So the Dodgers are pushing twice as much money out, something like $50 million out over the years, whereas Tampa Bay is just paying their people that amount as they go through. So heck of a comeback last night by the Dodgers against the Braves. If you didn't see it, it was pretty darn fantastic. Here, I'll show it to you real quick. Oh, I still have my NHL logo up there. So let me load it up here for everybody. All right. Let me show you the hit last night for the Dodgers to take the lead in the 7th and then eventually win it. I didn't play the AM 570 sound on that at all. Yeah, because you guys know what home run sound sounds like. So, Interesting thing about this is Bellinger then goes and throws his shoulder out of his socket, which I guess happens all the time. So we all assume he's going to be healthy going into this World Series. No reason to believe he's not. See what happens there. So again, me and Adam both have the Rays winning the World Series over the Dodgers. Starts tomorrow night. Let's watch it. So Chiefs Bills has kicked off first quarter. Obviously, nothing has happened yet. A couple other quick little notes here. As me and Chief talked about, Vander Esch is clear to play tonight versus the Cardinals. The Titans do face a fine as the NFL ends its COVID audit of them after what happened. We don't have any details on that yet, but it sounds like they are favored or in line to get a fine for, I'm assuming, breaking some COVID rules and policies for that. Nebraska quarterback Martinez will get the starting job against Ohio State, who I think they play next weekend, right? Not this weekend, I think. I'm a week early on that stuff there, but that is news. We talked about the golf tournament about Zach Ertz, who I saw a few rumors from an ESPN guy that came out with it saying that he should be traded to the Cardinals. Well, he's out 3 to 4 weeks now with an injury, so that probably isn't going to happen. You know, ridiculous. So, everyone, enjoy. Thanks for tuning in today. We reviewed, of course, the Cardinals Cowboys game tonight. As Adam is out sick, his voice was pretty bad. Sounded like a 90-year-old smoking woman. So he wasn't able to join us, but Chief did hop on to discuss the game tonight. So let's see how it goes. We'll get him back on and talk the aftermath. Maybe we'll do a special tomorrow or Wednesday or something. I'll get together with him and we'll figure it out, depending who wins. Cardinals win, I'll be a little bit more happier about it. So, of course, the Cardinals Rewind is up on YouTube that you guys can watch here before the game. Of course, you can also listen to it on any Podbean, Google, Apple podcasts, GestaltProduction.com, and get caught up on that leading into the game tonight. Of course, review every week the previous game and preview the game coming up. We'll have a new one out at the end of this week as well. Breaking down this game and looking forward to their next game. So pay attention to that at the Main Event Pod on Twitter and Facebook. We do our show notes, of course, stories that we talk about on here, as well as other interesting stories that happen. I'll be back Wednesday night on 1580 The Fanatic, of course, 6 to 8 p.m. And then, of course, Thursday we come on back here for our podcast to break down and preview next week's games as well. So definitely follow us. I'm at SMAC500. See y'all next